Yiorgos, welcome to Eureka. Thank you so much for being here.
Very nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Mm, now that I remember, I should have greeted you in Greek because I'm learning Greek. So, Yasu Yorgos Tikanis. I hope I say that correct.
Πολύ καλά, πάρα πολύ καλά. That's amazing. And the pronunciation, the accent is very good, which is
Thank you.
this
I
is the
think it's
most
my.
surprising.
Thank you. I'm very excited, about my Greek, but um, I'm super excited to have you here. And to kick off this conversation, I want to take you back to your young man a couple of years ago, where you were starting your professional career. How did success looked for you, or how did you understand success back then? And now, as a CEO of a company and in this journey, how does it look now?
Okay, let's start by being very honest. So I had no clue. I had no vision of where I was going. And that's primarily the reason why we built, my team and I built 100 mentors, exactly because we always remember how lost we thought about what we wanted to be when we grow up. And it's all about having role models in a young age that makes you becoming conscious about where you want to be in the next 5, 10 years. You know, this typical question of where do you want to be in 5, 10 years. I had no clue. Now I can say what I want to be like in 5, 10 years, but again, back then there was no everything was blurry. So I remember myself being a very good student, doing what I had to do as a student, as a first time professional, but there was no clear vision. So that was the main need that we wanted to cover with 100 mentors. And sorry if that sounds salesy, but exactly because I had no clue back then, we figured that a vast percentage of youth today, at least right now in the countries that we serve, 70 to 80% of youth, they don't even know what they want to be, why they are pursuing their studies and their first career steps. And what we did with 100 mentors is that first of all, we offered them a vast network of professionals, researchers, academics who were ready to connect with. And actually, this is a program that we run in schools. It's called The Tipping Point in Education. There are thousands of students in this program in Greece for career and academic orientation. So they meet 30 to 40 professionals per academic year before they decide what university departments they want to apply to. But back to your question, I remember that I wanted to become a doctor initially because my father is a doctor. And then after I made hundreds of surgeries in chickens, dead chickens, okay,
Yeah.
I realized I was not very intrigued. And I met one person that I really liked, a businessman in my island. I come from Crete. And I said, wow, it's amazing to see something from raw material to become a product and then how I sell this product. So this excited me because I had an assignment and I decided that I should go to the business school. And I did. And then I studied finance. And then in every city I went, I got some scholarships. I met people who acted as my role models. So my journey changed along this journey based on the people that I met in each city, from Crete to Athens, which was the big capital for me. Yes, I'm a villager. Yes, and then I got some scholarships, the Fulbright Foundation one, and then 10 more scholarships, and I went to the US to study. And then from Chicago, I went to New York, and from New York to San Francisco. So every city acted as a big experience for me, and I met people who changed my track along the way. So I don't want to share all this in detail, but the point is that find role models and surround yourself with people that inspire you every step in the way.
Who was that first mentor for you back then?
The first mentor was this businessman, a very local businessman in the island of Crete. He is the father of one of my classmates in the at school, and he was kind enough to give us an interview about his journey. So, the first thing is that I liked him as a person first, and then you have to relate in terms of the principles of the people that you they act as role models to you, and not in a technical sense, but in terms of the values. So I really liked the man. I really liked his style. He super simple man, but he was so clear about what he was doing and why, which that was way beyond just to showing off. He had done a tremendous job at a big factory in Crete, which is not, Crete is always about tourism and olive oil and feta. And all of a sudden, I see a role model that provided me with a totally different path, that it was super creative, and I think that triggered my curiosity. Building something, he built plastic tubes. Even that is not inspiring at all, but he was so passionate about getting raw plastic and transforming it into tubes that he could sell all over the world. Also, this universal aspect is something that I'm very intrigued by. So that was my first mentor, and I asked him a lot along the way.
Amazing. So, if I'm understanding correct, the business model of 100 mentors is essentially you got young people or people from any age that want to connect to experts in many fields, and you provide the platform for them to connect.
Totally. So this is actually the first thing that we offered, a B2C software as a service platform where people, especially young people, connect with their role models. So this has changed radically. So this is still a software. That was the first software that we provided, that we offered back in 2017. It's been 8, 9 years since then, and this is an amazing product that still runs, and it's the first product market fit that we had in a very small market. But this is still something very major, especially also in Greece, where we serve 30% of the secondary education in the country, with hundreds of thousands of students using the app every day for career and academic orientation. So it's a program right now. We spinned it off, and this is something that runs in primarily in Greece, and schools and teachers use it. And actually, we also added to that generative AI, so that students not only connect with their role models, but before that, they learn how to ask better questions, so that they take advantage of the precious time that they have with their mentors. So this is the first thing that, 100 mentors, as the name implies, is the mentoring app. But this is a nice to have for companies. So we said, you know what? We love the project. It has like a tremendous social impact. We spin it off and we keep it for schools, and we keep this application running, which, I mean, in terms of ARR, is something that is significant, but still a lifestyle business. So we said, let's take the learnings of mentoring sessions. Mentoring sessions essentially are meetings, and let's built a new tool that is a meeting tool. It's an AI curator and moderator for meetings, corporate meetings. So we now go to companies and we tell them, guys, we had 10 million minutes in mentoring, which is, you have the participants are not skilled to run an efficient and effective meeting. So we augment those skills about how the meeting owners, who were the mentees, young and and inexperienced, we augment them to make those meetings efficient, effective, and strategic. So if we can do that with students, we can certainly do that with your employees. And now we sell the meeting tool to companies, and this is the main thing that we do for the last. It's very recent, actually. It's been like 6 months that we started this project. It's going
Amazing.
very well. We have dozens of paid pilots in the US right now, and we are doing the big release in end of June, actually. So stay tuned.
Oh, well, we can do a whole PR with also the podcast near
Uh,
that uh,
yeah, sorry for that.
near that time.
Yeah,
I think you guys are catching the wave in a very important moment. As I researched your company and what it does, how I understand it in AI terms is essentially it's an AI agent that helps the meetings be more efficient and effective. And of course, there's lots of data that you guys will be able to retrieve. Have you ever thought if your product can start becoming a barrier of the human connection? Like if people are not as fluent or as natural? Have you guys thought about this?
totally, totally. It's if you don't think of it, you are gonna build something that is gonna be replacing almost every human aspect, and that's the danger of AI, because it's so exactly efficient and effective that you are indulged to transfer all the responsibilities that humans used to take to the machine. And I think it's a matter about the intentionality of the builders. So our mission is to make meetings as efficient and effective as they get, so that we offer the space for what we call genuine human connections. So, and this was also the main idea about the mentoring sessions where we started over. So, mentoring is not about just being efficient and effective. It's about this connection that goes way beyond the information part that you get from a mentor. The information part is something that you might be able to get from a web search, a very good web search. What you don't get is those moments that you connect, as we said before, in terms of the values and the principles of the humans that you have in front of you. And you have humans who share stories that you cannot find anywhere, but you need to be efficient and effective. This is not it doesn't Being efficient and effective doesn't exclude being human and genuine about your connection. So that's the beauty of it. It's an art to make a meeting both efficient in terms of taking advantage of the resource of time that you have with Sophia in this way, and then efficient in terms of how you use your time in a way that you cover the agenda items that you want to cover. For example, this is efficiency. And effective is about action items, whether you produce action items and you act on those items. So certainly we want those two things to take place in our meetings, but we want to make it as efficient and effective as it gets, so that you gain the time that 10 minutes, for example, in a meeting of 30, so that in those 10 minutes, you can become vulnerable, you can connect, and you can share stories that are relevant to what you hear, and you can be a human. And so if you don't cover the basics, or let me express it a different way, if you are hungry, for example, you
Yeah.
cannot think of philosophy. For example, if you don't cover the basic needs, to say so, you cannot really think and act in a genuine and human way. So to us, it's a prerequisite to make use of AI to cover the first kilometers of the journey and do the heavy lifting of, of technical skills. And then you leave it to the humans to connect or decide to connect or not, because you might not click with the other person anyways, but you should leave the space and have the luxury to discover things that you wouldn't discover in an inefficient and in an ineffective meeting. So yes, it has to do with the mission statement, with the thesis of the company. And for us, human genuine connections has been in the center of what we do from the very, very beginning.
Take me through how this agent works. So, if we were right now in a meeting, how does the agent show up to the meeting? Are we looking at it? Are we seeing maybe the metrics live? Very curious about how it's the
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
dynamic.
for the question. So we have three phases. The first phase is an AI curator. I do that, the anthropomorphizing, so that we make it relevant to what we humans know already. Okay. So the first is an AI curator. The second is an AI moderator during the meeting. And the third one is an agent who does project management after the meeting. The curator, of course, is before the meeting. Let me also say that there are amazing solutions out there as far as the third role is concerned. I mean, if you go to Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, those platforms and dozens of other competitors do very good post-mortem documentation. They take notes, but notes is a commodity right now. We are extremely pissed. I am a big time ADHD. You might have realized that because I tend to pass to from one topic to the other. And I'm pissed that there is so capable AI and we use it only for after the meeting has ended. So basically, what we do is that we use the AI capabilities, first of all, for the curation and the moderation during the meeting. And this is the hard job. This is why nobody touches that, because it's very difficult to have real time data and act on real time when you are in a meeting like here. So what we do is that we have the curator. You could be one day before the meeting or 5 minutes before the meeting starts, and a curator, a conversational one, comes to Sophia and says, "Okay, what do you want to discuss with Yiorgos?" So the fact that you prepare for that, and some people do that anyways, and they prepare agendas, but we realize that more than 80% of the people don't make any agendas before their meetings or all their meetings, just because it's very difficult to do so. Even if it takes like 10 minutes, it's very difficult to do so for every meeting. So you end up going to meetings where nobody knows exactly why they are there. So the first thing is about intentionality, and the curator takes 3 minutes conversational. That's the first agent with the meeting owner, Sophia, for example, to say that we want to cover this 4 or 5 items, and then there could be a discussion about, do you want to also mention this or that? Plus, this goes to all participants, and if there is time, they can edit the agenda. So very simple agenda curation. The second thing is moderation, and this is very fun actually, because okay, we are thinking of the rude version, the intrusive version of the moderator, but we are staying with the advisory role of a moderator. So the curator is primarily connected to efficiency, because you set agenda items and uh, uh, time expected time per agenda item, and assigned owners of agenda items. So it's all about following the agenda and staying loyal to the time that you have allocated, because the time is the main resource. The moderation is primarily okay, is about efficiency, because you have a moderator who it's like you have one more rectangle here with the moderator who shows you what agenda item you are on, the timer, and whether you go off topic. So you also have some other signs, like when you have a decision agenda item, the moderator says 1 minute before your agenda item ends, hey, you need to take an action. One of the highest ranked problems this moment with meetings is that we might have a conversation which is very nice, but we don't take action items that we all agree on. So if there is no consensus, we might have discussed about an action item, but there's only one or two people that commit on the action item. So the moderator comes and says, hey guys, in 1 minute, we close the agenda item. That's written form. Okay. It's not intrusive. And you have to decide on the action item. So you have a proposal for the action item, which comes as a result of the is a proposal from the moderator, and you decide whether you will go for this action item or not. So the first thing that we make sure is that a meeting produces action items, which is very, very important. And then the moderator collaborates with the project manager agent so that we make sure that those action items that we all decided on during the meeting will be completed on time, and the effectiveness of the meeting is measured 1, 3, or 7 days after the meeting. So these are some examples of how all this works. But again, the main point here is that we double down on moderation and curation, whereas everybody else, they do meeting notes after the meeting. So the main problem is about making the meeting itself efficient and effective, and not trying to make good notes after the meeting has.
Do you guys use your own product to make you guys more efficient? Like, I'm thinking about, I have a little voice that I want to be CEO, and I'm putting myself in your position, and I'm like, I would use this, like, I would be my first customer. Like,
You
which is
cannot
amazing.
imagine how lucky we are that we have a product that we use heavily every day. And I think that's something that really inspires everybody in the team, because um, we have been working in companies where we build products for others, and we build products that we do not necessarily need ourselves. And right now we do testing every hour, I would say. So we're also now trying to get all those information flows into the production, into actually the design of the product, which of course is impossible to have all those different feedback loops in it. But we have managed to get to the point that we have almost every day testing internal, and then with external partners that we name design partners. And that's very, very beautiful. And I think that the best thing that you can do as a founder or as a builder is to build to cover a problem that really burns yourself. And again, as I said, as a big time ADHD myself, I need a product that will help me put structure in my life, especially in my meetings.
No, I think many teams do not use the product. I've been in companies, I've been myself in the product team
Yeah,
where we ultimately find out, guys, the problem is that we're not using our product. And then you go and use your product and you find all these things, and you're like, now I know why I don't have retention or users to start
totally.
with.
Totally. I cannot agree more. I think it's very important to set, also to expect that from the team, but it should be intuitive and natural. So I'm so happy that everybody uses it. And of course, we also have like small competitions, because we have rankings about efficient and effective meetings, and we can see, we have very good visibility. So another thing is about what you do with this visibility, and whether you can get those insights and translate them into actions, which is the essence of the agents as well. I mean, there are amazing tools out there that give you a ton of insights, but if I need 30 more minutes per meeting to read, to study the insights, that's not the case. So we are building a tool that essentially saves you time and reads the insights on your behalf, so that it makes actions, but you can also edit those actions, or humans are the end decision makers, let's put it that way. So it's a very fine balance when you build also AI tools, and especially agentic tools. But yeah, being a tester of your own product, that's the biggest win right now.
Yeah. I remember a couple of weeks ago, the CEO, I don't remember if it was the CEO or the founder of Spotify, released this memo that went viral. I imagine you saw it. So it's essentially, for the people that do not know, he was calling out in a very nice way to his team, like, now it's not negotiable not to use AI in your day to day.
Yeah.
When I read that, I agreed 100%. I'm a pro AI. However, when I also, again, I started, if I was a founder, I was curious of how would I measure if my employees are actually using it, because it's really easy first to use AI in a way that is very, like, not to its full potential, and second of all, if they're using it at all. So I'm curious if in 100 mentors you guys are already implementing this kind of policies, and if you have any metric, or if you guys have figured that part out that was making my brain in loops.
Yeah, no, totally. And that's a big discussion almost every day. And we take it slowly because, there is so much hype. Everybody, talks about how magic it can be. However, if you really want to have and measure return on investment, you should first know your company and your workflows very, very well, even before AI came to place. So basically, what we do is that, and this is actually a way how we work with some partner companies that also ask us about general consultation, not only for the meeting tool that we offer them, um, about how we built what we call, in big corporations, they call it center of excellence, where they can, first of all, you make a map of the workflows per department and per role, where you have, for example, one role in customer success, for example, might have 10 to 15 workflows that get repeated every week. So out of those 15 workflows, you will, if you have a clear map of steps, if you can do that, because it's not, everything is not linear, but you can see that there is a sequence of actions that you take to finish one of your workflows, to complete a workflow. So when you map it, you can see that there are 5 nodes, and 2 or 3 of them can be, for example, automated. So first of all, setting the expectations right. Right now, we are in an era where pretty much you can automate a lot of things, but you cannot really have autonomous agentic workflows. So the main thing that we do also in 100 Mentors is that we map the workflows per role and per department, and we have a good visibility of what we can automate. It might be as simple as that, for example, one of the things that we do is this generative AI summit. So whenever we have events for the summit or the summit itself, we have, for example, 100 videos of content. And there was a human that actually took these videos. They had to go through the entire video and timestamp it, separate the video so that we publish it on YouTube, and this is ready to get consumed. This by itself would took this human about, I don't know, it could be 5 to 10 hours, depending on the skills of the human as well, the critical thinking, but also how big is this video and all this stuff. Very simple stuff, but very tedious and very time consuming. Right now, we have uh, one person that uploads the video. Okay, the video has been uploaded. This can be automated. Then we hired an agent that does the transcription, but also the timestamping. And this is easy to do it. And you get a good enough result. And whenever you have doubts about where to cut it in segments, it asks for human feedback. Immediately, you have a gain of about 2 to 3 hours, because you have an agent going through the video that does that, that puts timestamps. And then whenever you have the video, you have the timestamp and the transcription. Actually, you have the transcription first. That's the first step, and then you have the timestamps. And you can also share the way you want to separate, the sections, or the way you categorize the assets, the components of a video. And once you have that, like 1, 2, 3 steps, you have an automation that says that once the agent is done with transcription, the one agent, and the other agent, which is automation, it's not like a fully agentic function. Okay, to be clear. Then you have another automation that says that once you're done, send me a Slack message so that I can review what happened. So it might take the automation 2 hours to complete, but at the same time, I do another task. So you see that I speak about something very tedious, but very time consuming, that has already allowed you, because you made those automations, to save 3 to 5 hours per video. Multiply that by 100. Yes, you have gained, hundreds of hours of labor. So there you might have like a comparison of what was the case before and what happens now. And the only way to do it in a scientific way is to make it with randomized control trials, RCTs, but we don't have enough money to do so. So we go to workflows that you obviously have big wins, and we start there. And then we will be ready for other workflows to, like, once we have the capacity, we will also go for scientific ways to measure. But there's no silver bullet, is my point. But you can have critical thinking to realize what workflows can, automations or agentic workflows can save you hundreds of hours.
Can you imagine? In your explanation, you touched about the event that you guys host, the AI event. I was reading about it, and it's probably, I would venture to say that it's the biggest AI summit in Europe or from that category. Many founders could argue to you, like, why are you not focusing on, your main objective, core objective of your company? Why are you spending time hosting this type of events? And if you can walk us through, what is the event, what's the objective, and of course, why do you do it?
I totally agree with all those saying that, and that's funny. And if I have one piece of advice, is like, focus on your product. So what we did is that when ChatGPT was released on November 2022, we were like thrilled, and we started changing everything, of course. But we knew that would change radically our industry, and then the industry was mentoring. So it's very obvious how generative AI can act as cover the first steps of mentoring. And we started working on a project then on that. And what we did is that we started the summit as a hub for sharing the use cases for our own clients. So it started as a marketing event asset for 100 mentors, but the need was so high in the area, and especially in Greece and in Southeast Europe, there was nothing. And we are there like in 5 minutes, 5 months after ChatGPT was released. And we just made a summit as small as our portfolio of companies. And all of a sudden, you had people from OpenAI, NVIDIA, from the region, of course, like that they had, origins from the area, being like, I want to participate in that because there's nothing else. And we need to raise awareness about the capabilities and make it a part of the public discourse, essentially, also. So besides being a bunch of nerds who were discussing about what, like, back then it was not agents, but it was like the different models and how you build the conversational GPT style experience within your product, many lessons learned from the failures of building Gen AI product. All of a sudden you had a side discussion that was full of political and philosophical discussions that they were amazing, and we love that because because AI is way bigger than ourselves, so this became the go-to event for the region. It's the largest event focused on generative AI, to be specific. There are other events on AI that have a big tradition, but yes, we have like 5,000 live attendees. We have a 20,000 obsessed community, newsletter community, and we have all the hyperscalers in one event. Usually, it's only the Microsoft event or the AWS or the Google event. You have everybody come to this event, and I think the reason is exactly this: that we are not event planners. We do not belong to this industry. We built generative AI tools. And I think this makes it very attractive to all the builders, all the nerds and this is why it is commercial, but it attracts all the hyperscalers and the main players also on the infrastructure side, like from AMD as sponsors to NVIDIA and all the main players. So it started as a marketing asset. Now it's a major event, and we have an unfair distribution advantage because it's powered by 100 mentors, and we curate the content. So yes, we can speak a lot. And actually, right now, next November, we are gonna have the moderator on stage in many panels. So if somebody goes off track, which happens a lot during the events, we will have somebody, some higher intelligence saying, hey, you should leave some space to your co-panelists.
My gosh.
So yeah, you have an unfair distribution advantage.
But first of all, congratulations on generating, I think, the projects that you just launch with a very genuine objective, and then just they take traction and they become this incredible waves are very special because they're spontaneous. And I think with this event, as I was reading about it, you can feel that it's very, as you said, it's very welcoming for people from different companies and different perspectives, that I think that makes the conversation even bigger. I am curious, like, what has been the greatest takeaway that you've had from the past events?
That's a very difficult one. I think that the main message, which we really also needed in the area, in I would say in Europe in general, but also in Southeast Europe, is that the game is on, and unlike many other times that we experienced big tech industrial revolutions, this area waited to import the technologies that primarily the US and some Asia in this case sometimes produce. It's very encouraging that you see small teams not necessarily having like the biggest capabilities in the world or having like the best GPUs or having billions of dollars, making and building universal breakthroughs. And I think the main message is that this new technology doesn't require all this infrastructure as a prerequisite. The main thing that it requires so that you build big breakthroughs is a concentration of talent that is obsessed about certain missions. And that's what I really like with the summit, is that, okay, it's a big marketing distribution channel for us and for other players because there are so many sponsors that really support this event. But the main thing is that it's the hub and it's the occasion when that we need to gather with other nerds, as we said. And this is not just a discussion like exactly how we do it here. We always meet each other after those discussions when we meet there, and we know that we are obsessed about the same mission and the same technologies. And I've seen so many collaborations, not only commercial ones, but deeply research and technical ones erupting through the summit. So I feel very proud about this platform.
This technology is beyond what we know and it's very underregulated. Has been in the event like panels or discussions about any sort of conversation of if it's gonna be regulated, and if it is, how?
Regulation or like putting guardrails is a big discussion, and we are very sensitive on that in Europe. So what I really liked also is the interdisciplinary nature of the summit. Of course, we make sure that we label the different assets for extremely technical people, or like low no code people, or political assets like panels and workshops and discussions, so everybody knows that I will attend something that it might require some technical knowledge. We even had uh, regulators from the EU, the ones who built the AI Act of the European Union, or again, philosophers or people who see it from a historical perspective as compared to other tech industrial revolutions, and so on and so forth. Plus, you see all the trends that are arising. For example, the a big discussion right now is about how the US changes the way they see the regulation of the industry versus the model of China, where it is also used for surveillance or for missions that are not necessarily in the scope of EU. And I think that's a big discussion where you need all those different fronts and represent it. So I feel that we make the best to have them on stage. We even had like prime ministers, and we had like the highest political figures. But again, it all starts with the ones who build it. I want to make that clear. And whenever we can, we make sure that we have everybody uh, essentially teaching, educating us, the builders, about other focus areas that we should be educated about. So right now, that the technology is not deterministic anymore. It's not about it works or it doesn't. You push the button and the lights are on. Okay, that's the technology that we knew up until here. But right now, your technology has personality, and has your personality, the personality of the builder, and has your values and your education and your philosophy. So we need to have to go side by side with the philosophers and the not only the technology minds behind these technologies. We need to have them on our side. So we do that possible also through the summit.
Great. I mean, I think it's so necessary. I get scared, but then I try to stay optimistic about this. In this part of a conversation, I like to focus on each guest. What has been something that you have learned in these years?
Oh my God, so much. Seriously, I need to narrow myself and put my ADHD in a. So the main thing I would say, first of all, my perception about managing a team has completely changed. I think that I allowing myself to get mentored by very young people, for example, and people who are way outside of the technology world for the reasons I told you before. So this has changed a lot during the last years, and I feel that I made that as I standardized this exposure to non-typical role models, technology role models, and that is something. One of the things that changed. I have a list. I will share it through email. Seriously.
Yiorgos, I love this concept about mentoring. I think it's so beautiful. I personally love it and enjoy it so much, connecting with people that are younger, older than me, for them to teach me from their own experiences, things that I can use in mine. If you could be your own mentor, looking back, what would be that piece of mentorship that you would have given to yourself?
I think it's always about identifying what kind of principles you are missing. So it's not like one thing that I always advise, but I see it repeatedly in my area right now in Greece and in again Southeast Europe, I would say. People, young people tend to wait for the ideal conditions to start their over to launch a project, a product, or to make a move that is important and aligned to their mission. I'm not saying to be just a go-getter for the sake of aggressiveness or something like that. I don't like that, anyways. But when you know what burns inside you and what is aligned to your talents and your inclinations, start over. It might not be perfect, and this is something that happens a lot again in my area because we are very traditional cultures. This equals risk averse. So my piece of advice also to myself back then was like start, launch the project that you have in mind, and set the expectations right about how to get feedback. And that's the best thing for a young person to do. Yeah.
Yorgos, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been amazing. I don't know if you have anything in your mind that you want to talk to, something that we didn't touch that might have been, in your head and you want to say something, or if not, it was absolutely amazing. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, everybody who wants to travel to Greece, uh, I think November is a good opportunity because we still have very good weather, but primarily we have an amazing event and we are waiting you at the GenAI Summit. That's it.
Oh, if you can send me, I can link the description, the sign in, wherever we can get the tickets. I will for sure try to be there. I love AI and I'm super excited about understanding it thoroughly so I can use it in my future companies. So, yeah, thank
Certainly.
you.
Let's do it. Thank you so much, Sophia. That was incredible.